We are here in the Zocalo. This is the beating heart of Mexico City, but not just of Mexico City. It is the beating heart of Mexico, the nation itself. This is such a sacred space, but it's also analogous to Times Square, where you can clearly see behind me the hustle and the bustle of people. People are everywhere. What's really amazing about this space and place, there's so much history. This was the epicenter of the Aztec Empire. The rulers presided over this space. There's an incredible museum called the Templo Mayor, where you can get and see a lot of the artifacts from that time, from the Aztec reign, but not just the Aztecs. Before that, the Olmecs, the Toltecs. The Zocalo has a long heritage, a very prestigious heritage in space and place within the indigenous communities. And then when Hernán Cortés and the Spanish Empire came in, they deconstructed the Zocalo temples, and they used the same bricks to build places like the National Palace and, of course, the Cathedral, the Metropolitan Cathedral, which is right behind me, which is the symbol of the Vatican and the Catholic presence here in Mexico, which cannot be understated. Mexico is a deeply devout Catholic country, and Catholicism here is such a big deal. The Catholic Church has played a huge role in Mexico, and so it makes sense that this grand cathedral would also be behind us. Mexico City is obviously one of these mega cities, so there's never going to be a place where there's not going to be people. But in the Zocalo especially, as you can see, there are people on top of people who are on top of people. So it is bustling with people. So you want to definitely just prepare yourself for the fact that there's going to be a lot of folks everywhere you go. That's just going to be the norm. If you mentally prepare yourself for that aspect, you'll be okay. And just also remember, if you're going to take an Uber, Ubers can only get you so far into the Zocalo, like a couple blocks away, because a lot of the roads are blocked right now. And so what you're going to see is the Ubers will stop at some point, making you walk the journey, but it's not so bad. So just have patience with both the Ubers and with the people, and you'll be perfectly fine. And get ready to enjoy this space, because it's a really beautiful space and place. So there's one thing that you have to know that's the most Mexican thing of all, and it is the organ grinders behind me. Can you hear that organ grinding? That is a sound that you will hear when you are in the Zocalo being played 24 hours. The first 10 minutes of it is like, oh, that's cute. But then after the 23rd hour, you're ready to pull your ears out. But what I have to say is charming is that there's a couple of Grinches. Folks dress up as the Grinch who represent the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army is what's playing, is part of the organization that's behind the organ grinders. So you can make donations. To the left over here is also going to be the National Palace, and that's where the president used to live. The president will make speeches from here often during important ceremonial times, and there's a lot of pageantry, but it's mostly used now as an administrative building for a lot of different government processes and procedures and services. But inside the National Palace, you can actually see amazing murals that depict Mexican history that were created by Diego Rivera, one of Mexico's most prominent muralists and artists. And we're going to go check that out if we can get through the crowds. The National Palace, in my opinion, is one of these must-see buildings. They have recently reopened. They were going through some really extensive renovations for a while and were closed, but now they're back open. And you get an insight into Mexican power, which is, I think, fascinating. Not only do you get to see these impressive Diego Rivera murals that depict Mexico's history, writ visibly large, but you also get to enjoy the sumptuous architecture, which for me has such
stellar references to Andalusian culture and architecture. I mean, there's parts of those courtyards where you feel like you're in Seville. It's incredible. And of course, it's a beautiful way to get away for the quiet and peaceful, tranquil space that the interior offers. But you also get a glimpse into other exhibition spaces that showcase executive functions and the history of the executive function in Mexico, which I find truly remarkable. And you can spend as quick as an hour going through the murals, or if you wanted to do a deeper dive, you could easily spend a few more hours at this museum. It's calibrated for you to really enjoy how long you want to be there.
Also located within the Zocalo, right next to the National Palace, is this yellow building. This is one of the very first European-style colleges in the New World. It was established in 1553, and it is considered to be the first university in all of the New World. So you can get a sense of how old Mexico is. Even Spanish Mexico is much older than when the British came to the colonies, to give you an idea of timelines and age. And this university, which is now known as UNAM, is still around. It's considered the most prestigious university in all of Mexico. And so if you have a chance, it's a museum now and you want to go in there and check it out, I definitely recommend it. You can add that to your list of museums at the Zocalo. This is the Templo Mayor. This is part of the archaeological site that's been exposed, where the Aztec kingdom had its presence and what makes the Zocalo the beating heart of Mexico and Mexico City. And a lot of this archaeological site is exposed for you to view. It's an active site. And right behind that site is a large kind of square building. That's where they have a museum where you can find any number of artifacts that will kind of help explain the history and detail the life that the Aztec people lived. In Mexico, they're referred to as the Mexicas. And you can learn all bits about their technology, their history, their art, their design. It's an incredible museum. It does take a very long time. This recording and what I'm showing you is a understatement of how long the archaeological dig site to go through is. It's a very windy path that would take you a couple of hours, and then the museum itself, once you get into it, will also take you another couple of hours. It's something that you want to give either a huge chunk of your afternoon to or a chunk of your morning to, because the knowledge here is incredible. You feel this amazing presence of realizing that the earth that you're standing on has existed within human civilization for millennia plus. There's so many different groups and types of people that have paved those roads that you're literally walking on, and it gives you chills, an appreciation for Mexico and the antiquity of its culture and all that came before and now. And it really is something to behold that I think you would definitely appreciate. Here is a typographical map of old Tenochtitlan, and you can see the pyramids at the very center. That is the Zocalo, where you had such a holy, sacred area for the Mexicas as well as modern-day Mexico. It's quite amazing when you begin to get a scale of how big this city was. It gives you an idea of how advanced their civilization, their technology. They also have thoroughfares here running through the lake. I mean, their agricultural, their aquatic technologies of using the lake to thrive was really quite impressive. Quite impressive. I can only imagine what Hernán Cortés and the Spanish conquistadors must have thought coming into this place. Must have just blown their mind, because in a lot of ways, even though they didn't have the wheel, had not yet discovered the wheel here, it still must have impressed them with their ability to build these pyramids and have all of this agricultural irrigation and incredible technology. This vantage point, which allows you to see some of the archaeological dig of the Templo Mayor, also has stunning views of the southern part of the Zocalo. So you could see UNAM, you could see the National Palace, And then of course you can see the Metropolitan Cathedral, which is right there as well. I think parts of it might be closed as well for renovation. It really does need to be renovated. It's kind of in a state of disrepair. And then you have some restaurants over here. There's another really famous restaurant called Café de Cuba, which you should probably visit once so that you can enjoy it. It's really something special. Has traditional Mexican cuisine that's truly traditional and truly wonderful. It also has beautiful murals that depict scenes from old Mexico that I think you might also appreciate. So this is the National Museum of Fine Arts here in Mexico City, and it is one of the most spectacular places to get a glimpse into the Mexican artistic psyche. They have so many different periods of Mexican art that is devoted to the Mexican voice, the Mexican perspective. It is all so incredible. It tells a history, tells so many different stories about Mexico. You see so many different sides of Mexico through the artwork, through its time when it was a colony called New Spain, before Spain, and then after Spain when Mexico became its own country, including modern masterpieces from artists like Rivera and Orozco. You cannot miss this museum. It is a must-see if it's your first time to Mexico City. And of course, we have this spectacular building that is just ornate and beautiful and represents everything that Mexico has to offer. You don't want to miss this museum. Make it part of your list. Do it. It's fabulous. Behind me is the Palacio de Bellas Artes, which is one of Mexico City's most famous and most beautiful buildings. It's said that it's both a mixture of Art Nouveau and Art Deco, but I'm struggling to find the Art Deco in it. For me, it is more pronounced Art Nouveau. Whatever it is, obviously it's quite beautiful. You can see the grandeur in which it was built. There is a lot of ornate design and architecture. It houses an architectural, a fine art museum, as well as a performance space, so you can go and see dances and operas. Obviously, one of the most famous things that you probably know it for are the murals inside. There's a handful of Diego Rivera murals that you can enjoy and that depict a variety of stories and vignettes about Mexico, as well as the sciences. They also have viewing salons. Sometimes they're closed, sometimes they're not. It's not a terribly expensive museum to get into, and if the salons are open, it'll take you about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to get through. So that's something that we want to keep in mind. Another point that's really important to mention, Mexico City enjoys temperatures of about 75 degrees every single day, every single year because of its equatorial status and because of its elevation. It's very high up, so it never gets too hot, it never gets too cold. But one thing to keep in mind is the sun. As you can see, the sun is blaring down, and the floor in the area here is tiled with exquisite marble, which also produces a reflection that can be very glaring. And so you definitely want to think about having a pair of sunglasses when you come to Mexico City, because it is bright, so bright to get your eyes right. Get some glasses, enjoy Mexico City, enjoy the Palacio de Bellas Artes. Also, as I'm going to show you, there's a park that is worth your time as well, because at the park there's a special mural by Diego Rivera that I'm going to show you right now. That's actually free to get into, free to enjoy. Beautiful statues, and we're going to check it out right now. This is the park that adjoins the Palacio de Bellas Artes, and as you can see, it's very beautiful in its grandeur. A lot of vendors selling food, snacks, and small gifts, tchotchkes, hats, socks, things like that. What I love about Mexico City is that I often feel like I get transported back in time. The things about Mexico that I love are that Mexico doesn't tear stuff down like in the United States. A building reaches 30 years and boosh, it's gone. They rebuild over it. Whereas here, they build things that are meant to last. I mean, you look at all of the different architectural features. The thing about Mexican culture is that they have a love for things, keeping things intact and repairing them where they can, not just stripping them down. And so there's a graceful, beautiful antiquity that is everywhere here in Mexico City, and it's something that I love. You can find different ages of period architecture when the city was growing and expanding that's still there today, you know, from 100, 200, even 400, 500 years ago. Things were made to last here in Mexico, and I love that. So this right here is one of the most famous murals in all of Mexico. It's the mural painted by Diego Rivera, which depicts a testimony of Mexican history, Mexico's revolution, and the new frontier, the new country that was forming as a result of the revolution. All that happened to get to the revolutionary point, and then all that happened afterwards, and the new dawn for Mexico. And it's such a powerful mural. It's a representation of the new Mexican identity that occurred during that time period. In the early 20th century, mid-20th century, to even the 50s when murals exploded across Mexico. Diego Rivera is considered a master of the Mexican mural. Mexican murals are woven into the identity of Mexican art. Check this out. It's a reproduction made on tiles. The original belongs to, I believe, the Museum of National Arts, and this one you can see for free. It's at the other side of Alameda Park, where the other side of the park is the Palacio de Bellas Artes. So on this side you can check it out for free. It's beautiful. See if you can identify some of the characters in the mural who played a prominent history or role in the new Mexico. Mexico City's Palacio Postal, or the Post Office Palace, opened in 1907. And as you can see, it is still as grand as it was when it opened 120 years ago. This palace of marble, bronze, iron, and glass turned everyday mail into something ceremonial. And there's a quiet melancholy in that, because once buildings like this carried the weight of human connection. There's also some exhibition spaces that we've designed in stamps and share the history of the Postal Service. This museum will take about an hour to get through and is free, and believe it or not, it's still a functioning post office, even with the long lines. We're on the Paseo de la Reforma. We spent basically all day and a little bit into the night at the Zocalo. That place was filled with so many people. I mean, it makes Times Square look half empty. That's how many people were there. But it was great. We ended up finishing our day having dinner at Sanborn's at the House of Tiles, the Casa de Azucelos, which was really nice. Beautiful restaurant. Okay food. It's like, if you like diner food, diner comfort Mexican food, Sanborn's is the place to go. It's comforting. It holds a sentimental place in our heart. We've been coming to Mexico City since 2015, so we like Sanborn's for a meal, just to go to check in. And this was a new spot. We've been to 3 different ones, but yeah, whatever. But when we got out, we were walking and we ran into like a bunch of different performances, fire throwers, break dancers. It was really a lot of fun. And so now we're having a little bit of trouble finding an Uber. We ordered one at a hotel, but it was going to take 23 minutes for it to come. So we're walking a little bit more, walking to another hotel that we know in hopes that we can find an Uber that might be able to take us over to Chapultepec. Otherwise, we might just end up walking the entire way. Which is not that bad. I mean, it's not like it's far and it's a walk, but you know, it's not like we don't need the exercise after eating all this Mexican food. But anyway, the evenings this Friday night in Mexico City, and it is bustling with people. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm a little bit tired at this point, but it's been an amazing day, amazing evening, and yeah, really happy to be here.
All right, we're coming up to Le Meridien. We've stayed at this hotel. That's probably one of my favorites. Hopefully we can order an Uber and we can get back home, back to our hotel. Wish us luck.